The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
That's why we want to bring into the conversation to help dispel some of these misconceptions. It's the director of the UCLA Kidney Transplantation Exchange Program, Dr. Jeffrey Veal. And I want to jump right into this and cut to the chase, because I'll ask you, does accepting an organ from someone who died from a drug overdose, does that affect your chance of survival?
No, I would say actually the opposite is true. It significantly increases your chance of survival. If you're on dialysis, for example, your life expectancy is 5 to 10 years. If you're waiting for a heart or a liver, I mean, if you don't get a transplant, you're gonna die.
Do you test the viability to make sure you're giving me a good organ?
So what happens is, unfortunately, with the drug overdose, whether it's heroin or opioids, you stop breathing, basically. So your brain can only go without oxygen for maybe 10 minutes, and so you're brain dead. But the organs often recover, and they test the heart, they test the lungs, they test the liver, they test the kidneys, and they often bounce back. And your heart's beating, even though you're brain dead, and so those organs are being perfused with oxygen. They're often young donors, and these organs are high quality, and they save someone else's life. It's not just IV drug users, but even if you were to, say, get hepatitis C, we have these wonder drugs now that cure hepatitis C. I think the cure rates are nearing 100%. So I would even consider taking a kidney and getting hepatitis C if that donor had hepatitis C, and then taking the powerful drugs that cure me of hepatitis C, because my chances of living on dialysis are only 5 or 10 years.
And I believe, Dr. Veal,
you're hearing it from the surgeon himself. If he's saying that that's an option that he would consider, then that's a pretty powerful statement.
And I think, to your point, Dr. Veal, I believe there was a study that came out in the New England Journal of Medicine last year in 2018 that actually looked at how well people who had gotten organs from someone who overdosed versus more typical routes like a gunshot wound donor or kind of donor supplier, that they actually fared just as well, that those people actually survived just as long regardless of the source of the organ, correct?
That's right, yeah. No, and even if you're older, I mean, some people think if you're too old to donate, but there's some people in their 60s, even early 70s, that are very healthy, that we know, living wonderful lives, and they've got excellent organs too that they could give to an older person and help that person live for another, 10, 15 years. So yeah, the quality of organs, I think, is a misconception. There's very healthy people that are older or have unfortunately died in a drug overdose. And yes, you would actually want those organs. If you were waiting for a liver or a heart and that was your only chance at survival, I would say those 86% that said no, you would actually say yes, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And before we go, one last myth. And I think Myra and Jesus highlighted this. It's so very important for individuals out there to know that if you're an organ donor, there's this myth out there that doctors in the hospital will not try as much to save your life. And that is such a misconception. Can you just touch on that, Dr. Veal?
I did an organ recovery last night, for example. So last night I did an organ recovery. In a few hours, I'm going to be doing an organ transplant. The doctors where I did the organ recovery last night did everything they could for this lady. I mean, they just did everything they could, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. And, I don't even know where those organs went. So I recovered the organs last night, and I don't know where they went. They might have gone to a child in another state. And the kidney that I'll be transplanting later today has no connection with that. It's not like I have someone in this room who is dying, and in the next room, there's the person who could get a kidney. The doctors are completely separate. They're doing everything they can to save that person, and so it's disconnected. That's a myth. I get that myth the most, and it needs to be completely removed. In fact, I'm an organ donor. I've got a pink dot on my license if you zoom in here. So if I believe in it, and I know the whole system, and I'm the one recovering the organs, then I think everyone should be an organ donor if they unfortunately die.
Thank you. Thank you for the work that you do and for highlighting these important topics. And to Myra and Jesus, I thank you for joining us. I thank you for sharing your story with us and helping us dispel some myths. I just want people out there to find out more about how to become an organ donor and all these myths and misconceptions. We'll have more information on our website, and you can also catch Vice News Tonight. Its full story will be online. You can tune in every Monday through Thursday at 7:30 on HBO Eastern Time.